Thank you so much, everyone. Lovely to being here. Excited to make this a plea for digital failure today. Let's celebrate mistakes. So picture this. It's a typical morning. It's around 10:37 a.m. after the first editorial meeting, your second coffee, 53 answered comments, and an averted shitstorm. Horror strikes. You take another sip of your lukewarm coffee, open your emails, and then boom. An email from the boss rolls in, but not the good kind. We all know these emails, the go viral kind. In the subject line, it says, C-level wants us to go viral on Be Real. And in the body of the email, it says, we have to be quick. These are low-hanging fruits. Before our competition starts on there, we've already been left behind on TikTok. Well, I want a performance report every week and 10K followers as soon as possible. And just like that, quietly, another social media manager heart breaks. The coffee in the cup is getting cold by now. The mood is lousy as a glance at the calendar and the to-do list shows. Be real is only the workload here. So yes, we're social media managers. We're here for the good stuff. And yes, sometimes it actually happens. Sometimes, don't tell anyone, it happens by mistake, that we go viral. And that's what sometimes our bosses think we do all day long. But I believe most of you on here today can mostly identify themselves with the picture on the right? With the things that we actually do all day long, surviving all the tasks, the algorithm changes. I mean, greetings to Adam Maziri and lots of heart attacks I've suffered on my end. New channels on those ghastly let's go viral requests. As a jack of all trades, social media managers today have to deliver the perfect, interactive, informative, emotional, bonding content, entertain communities, derive all decisions in a data-driven way, develop platforms in the shortest possible time frame. Just like that, obviously, just like that, we go viral on TikTok, we go viral on Be Real. And they also have to deliver the highest, if not viral, performance. But room for mistakes, room for trial and error, for failure, well, that's not such a big thing in most companies. The fear of losing control is simply too much. Capitalism, the next big thing, the performance, the budget, the money, the goals, the hunger for performance doesn't even stop at cute cat pictures, I can tell you that, or shitty ones for that matter. The second best is always the first loser. And if you're the second best and your competitor comes first, well, all hell breaks loose. But if you ask me, we need room for human error, for learnings, for a space of growth. A space where we can just simply royally fuck up, learn from it, and then make the magic happen. Don't get me wrong. I mean, performance and data. Yes, of course, we love it. Strategy, we're all here for it. User-centric, well thought through content. Hell yes, that's one of the favorite parts of our job. Innovation, jumping on trends, new channels, new ideas, new challenges. We love it. We love getting crazy, witty, wild with social. We're here for all the good stories and the great reels. And these two reels that I'm just about to present to you, they're the epitome of how great results come with lots of error. Are these reels funny? Yes, they are. Did we create about 10 reels that weren't funny at all, didn't pick up, didn't perform? Yep, most definitely. Are these reels actually outtakes from the actual ones that we wanted to create? You bet. These two reels just accidentally happened when we were busy making mistakes, when our 26 markets at ZooPlus were experimenting, trying to find the best storytelling, trying to get their paws on the best performing reels. And we tried hard and we got lots of reels with zero performance and we struggled. And then we had these two and they were actually, not only are they funny, but they're actually also very well performing. And funny thing is, I actually had not an interview, but a meeting with our C-level recently. And I told him about these two reels and his face was lighting up. He was so excited about these viral videos. So I couldn't break his heart and tell him that we had several attempts with failure at that point, but you get the idea. Sometimes in failure, and we failed in 26 markets across Europe, sometimes there's a lot of beauty that lies in there, because then you can take all that information, you can take all the learnings and turn it into something great. So let's have a look. You see, that was a bloody outtake. We wanted to create a completely different video, but then the cat was just doing cat things and they work pretty well. So that's an outtake. And the other one just happened on a regular day. It was a regular school day with our social media manager in Spain. And again, that was also not intended, because she wanted to shoot a video, like a proper product video on the dog bed. And let's see what happened instead. Isn't that cute? She has a big dog and she has a little sausage dog, and that's the dog of the sausage, the bed of the sausage dog. But then the big dog wants the small bed, right? Yeah, that was really cute. Actually, that was one that went viral and it wasn't intended. So we got pretty lucky. So what I'm trying to say is it's about time to be allowed to make mistakes again and to fail without restraint, that we create a culture in which social media failures are actually a reason to celebrate, a reason to be confident, because with those failures you can make magic happen. And it might sound counterintuitive, but there are actually a few good reasons why failure is good for everyone's health, both the employers and the companies. Because A, it shows weak spots, and those weak spots, they allow for room for improvement. Number two, when making mistakes, this can teach one resilience, and it can improve self-confidence when bouncing back from that mistake, because you learned something from it and now you are more confident in your abilities and in your skill set. And it can also show a great deal of courage, because you've put yourself out there and you tried, and that obviously deserves congratulations and deserves a lot of applause. And lastly, it can make people take on responsibility and actually make them show up for the things that they care about. If they work in an environment where failure is allowed and where failure is a reason to celebrate, and they are not anxious about what might happen to them if they're fucking it up at some point. So let me start. I'm going to start right now in front of all of you, telling you my biggest fuck ups and learnings in my career so far. So I'm gonna walk the talk right now. Number one, it was back when I was working with L'Osteria. We had a beautiful campaign going on. It was a summer campaign. It was about Italian summer. It was about flirting. It was about flirt tips. And we had one talented Italian musician from Calabria, Armando Quattrone, as our testimonial for the campaign. And he's very Italian. And he was kind of like sharing bits and bobs of his like top tips for flirting during summer, during the campaign. And then towards the end of the campaign, it was the last day, we had during the day, we had a live show with Armando and one of the influencers that we worked with, Vivian. And they were talking for about like 30 minutes about their flirt tips and tricks, also trying to engage the audience, trying to get their tips and tricks. And then at the very end of the day, we also had a live concert in Munich in one of our restaurants. And we had this also live streamed. Right, for the afternoon session, we had Armando and Vivian. We had a great spot, great location, great restaurant. We had a good script, good storytelling. We even had a contest going on. So during that live, you could win a Vespa, like an original Italian Vespa. And we also had a great team there. They were filming it with 2 or 3 different cameras, putting it all together and then shooting it live. Well, during that live, we had 20 viewers, and 10 out of these 20, I think more so 15 out of these 20, were our own colleagues sitting in the head office tuning in. Yeah, well, actually, we were pretty mortified and embarrassed by that, because we were like, how the heck are we going to explain that? Because obviously we had resources invested, our team preparing it. We had then also Amanda booked, we had the influencer booked, we had the guys booked with the cameras, with the video, the live stream team. So we were actually pretty mortified. And then what we did, we swept it under the carpet. And what we did, we boosted it afterwards. And then in the campaign reporting, we only reported on the total number of views that came in after we boosted the video. Well, yeah, that was at a time where failure was not a big thing in companies, I believe. Even though we still learned something from it, we still learned that we should have made it more engaging, more interactive. And Friday in the afternoon, that's not a good timing. People are like already on their way home, or they're spending time with family and friends. It was also a summer campaign, so most of the people were potentially busy drinking an Aperol Spritz somewhere and not busy watching our live stream, right? Failure number 2. At ZooPlus, let me say, we have a love-hate relationship with memes. We love the memes. We're really good with memes. Our team is just like shooting memes all over the place, but we don't seem to specifically nail the meme game of our audience. We think they have a very peculiar understanding of when a meme is fun, and we're not always nailing it. So you can see on the left, that was part of a campaign. It is a replication of one of the internet's most famous memes called "One does not simply walk into Mordor." And we thought this cat looks a bit Mordor-ish. So we came up with "One does not simply touch my food." We thought it was actually hilarious. Actually, I came up with the idea, so I'm going to make it more embarrassing for me either. I came up with the idea. I found it absolutely freaking fantastic and funny. It got about 0 engagement. Yeah, again, mortified because it was simply not performing, and we were a bit ashamed. And then you can see the one on the right. Thankfully, that also came from my brain, so I balanced it out. And it's kind of like when your human says, "Who's my favorite?" and you already know it's you. I mean, it's funny, don't get me wrong. I think it's funny, But then at the end of the day, we feel like, okay, we have to come to terms with the fact that our meme game does not matter. The meme game of our audience matters. And even if we think it's cringe and we don't think it's funny, it's absolutely irrelevant what we think about it. We have to give our audience the memes that they want. And all the other memes that we think are funny, we can share with our team. We can share with our team in our team's chat, but not necessarily on our social channels. Right. Number 3. That's the last one. Brace yourselves because it's the hardest. Again, I was working at L'Osteria and we did all of our influencer campaigns in-house. And someone approached me and he was like, hey, I'm a YouTuber and I'm currently doing lots of challenges. Do you want to be part of that challenge too? And I was like, okay, sounds good. What is this challenge about? And he said, yeah, I've previously done it with McDonald's and Burger King. And it's about that we try to eat as much as fast as possible. I was like, okay, interesting. Because keep in mind, the L'Osteria pizza is pretty big. And we're like, yeah, why not? We can just test the waters. Let's try it. So he went into the restaurant with his friends. You can see them here on the slide. And they were absolutely lovely. It was such a great video. They were filming the restaurant. They were also kind of like sharing such great compliments on the location, the restaurant, the staff, the taste of the pizza. It was absolutely lovely. And then they ate the pizza as fast as they could. And then there was one winner and then there was one loser. And I was like, oh, great video, fantastic. But then I wondered, why is there still a couple of minutes left? Well, I was about to find out. Those couple of minutes left were because to every challenge, there is a penalty. And the loser of that channel was about to serve the penalty. And keep in mind, we're talking about a restaurant, we're talking about food. So what is important for a restaurant and food? Exactly, hygiene. What kind of penalty had they thought about? The poor loser, the poor man, had to stick his head into a bloody toilet and then they flushed it. And if that wasn't enough, they prepared the toilet as if it was looking like it was completely covered in shit. I was watching that and I was like, uh-oh, I am in trouble. I'm in trouble big time. How am I going to tell my boss? The good thing was that he received lots of negative feedback on that on his YouTube video. And then he did like an official apology video. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. We just pretended. We cleaned the toilet beforehand. I mean, still, come on, letting someone stick their head into a toilet, even if you cleaned it, that's just plain gross. Anyway, so he sent an apology video and he was like, oh man, so sorry. We made a mistake. We're stupid boys and we got carried away. I apologize also to L'Osteria. They didn't know anything about this. They haven't kind of like approved this. So we apologize for everyone that we've potentially hurt with our behavior. So that was then all covered, all good. I still haven't told anyone at L'Osteria. So greetings to my previous colleagues over there. That was the story that went down with that specific video that you never saw. Anyway, what did I learn? I should have tested it, like looked at it better before. So that's 100% on me. I should have double checked his videos, his previous videos, and then I should have discussed with him what kind of penalty they were envisioning to navigate that better. But hey ho, I didn't. But to be fair, guess what? I'm still standing. I'm up and running, and these failures, I believe, served for great learnings and a hell of a lot of growth in my career. I think they allowed for me to be, let's say, more relaxed around failure, around trial and error, also allowing my team to fail and test more. And I don't know if you've seen me before, but I fully do believe in numbers, in data, in facts and figures. I think they're undoubtedly important, But I also think that failing, and with that, a safe space for emotions and kindness and humanity, will sometimes get us further. And to prove on that point, I would like to share with you a childhood memory. So picture this. It's little me being about 10 years old, playing the guitar at a concert. And my teacher, my guitar group, and I, we've been practicing for weeks, and now we're about to enter the stage. And my mom and my brother, they're sitting in the audience, they're smiling, they're rooting for me. And then it's my turn. I get up, I take my seat in front of the audience, and I'm just so incredibly anxious to make a mistake in front of everyone, and especially in front of the ones that I care about the most. And I think there's a lot of similarity to today. As a social media manager, you work tirelessly to create content, write beautiful, witty caption, create fun reels, and yet you're always on the edge of, is it going to perform? And what if it doesn't? That's going to be embarrassing. So with that in mind, let's go back 23 years ago to that concert. And on the last leg of the song, it happened. I'm playing an incredibly wrong tune. It's actually hurting my ear. And all of a sudden, my face feels hot, my stomach feels sick, my eyes are burning, and I feel the tears coming up. But then I remember my teacher's words. He said to me close before the concert, obviously he noticed how anxious and nervous I was. In case something goes wrong, just continue. And I promise you, no one will notice. So in that room, I brush it off, I focus, and I just continue. And once I've finished, once I'm finished, I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I'm too mortified to even look up, because I'm like, I've let everyone down. I let my group down. I've let my teacher down. I've let my mom down, my brother down. I've let the audience down. And then I'm just like, oh man, I just fucked it up royally. And then to my surprise, I hear applause. And obviously I feel somewhat relieved, but then afterwards I go to my teacher and I'm telling him how embarrassed I felt when I screwed up, and I wanted to make everyone proud. And then he said to me something that I will cherish to the end of my days. He said, you remember what I said to you before the concert? I told you to continue, to stay strong and finish the song, even in case you made a mistake. And in the end, as I promised, hardly anyone noticed. And see how brave you were. You just continued, unwavered. That resilience and dedication is going to take you far. But then when it happens and you make a mistake, promise me this, always ask yourself, what can I learn from it? What good can I find in that? So instead of being flooded with guilt and shame and embarrassment, put it into a different perspective. And I think actually it's quite similar to social media these days. When it's not performing, we feel embarrassed. And sometimes that's also the beauty of the algorithm, is it not? If the post is not performing, if it's not getting any traction or engagement, no one probably noticed anyway, or will notice, because the algorithm is simply not sharing it any further. And to change the perspective, just as my guitar teacher said back in the day, it's actually a gift, because then we can switch the perspective, learn from it, grow from it, learn to improve the content, the twist, the targeting, the caption, the creative. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, buckle up, buttercup, learn to enjoy the beauty of this ride. Sometimes social media is spectacular. Sometimes it's a shit show, but it's always worth the ride. So the big question is, how do we create a culture of failing in our teams? I'd say we just dive right in. In other words, what we need trust and a safe space. We need you to trust your team members. We need your team members to trust each other. And we also need them to trust you as a team lead. Give everyone the freedom to test and learn. If they're not afraid to make a mistake, they will go great lengths. They will go to risk. And with risk, magic happens. And in order to be able to create that trust, make sure that you are vulnerable, that you share everything that's uncomfortable. You share your shortcomings, your failures, your learnings as well, because that will make them trust you. And in terms of culture, implement a culture where failure offers learnings. Failure offers to accept or deny a hypothesis, and both is a result to get you further. Integrate in your mindset the switch of perspective. Always ask yourself, why is that a good thing? What can I learn from it? And lastly, something that I love to implement in my teams is honoring the failure of the month. To applaud that one that made a mistake, because with that mistake, everyone can learn. And because that mistake has already been done, no one else needs to do it. And everyone can improve their skill set from it. And this culture will stop hindering them living their full potential. It will put a stop to blockers and fear of testing because everyone is so afraid of the consequences. This will allow for more magic to happen. And I believe this will let your team and your results grow further. As a team lead, it is your job to protect such an environment at all costs and advocate for it with different stakeholders. Be clear on what you can deliver and what you can't. Tell them, we'll try, and we might fail, we might stumble, we might fall down and get up again. And there's a lot of beauty in that, because that is what the so sought for community experience on social media is about. Being on a journey together, including all the falls and all the stumbles. Yes, sometimes you won't get any comments or reaction out of your community because you're not hitting the sweet spot, or the algorithm is busy promoting your competitors' content. Sometimes no one will watch the bloody reel that you spend 3 hours editing. Sometimes no one cares about your new story promoting your latest product. And let me tell you today, that is okay. Regardless, tell everyone we will be real, unapologetically, with every mistake, failure, and viral video that comes with it. And that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. So what would a Facelift Summit be without cat content? And I see so many hearts and applause and smileys. And when I read through the comments in the chat, just to take some of them as examples. So one is by far the best presentation today. Another one was, that's amazing. Please come back next year. So I think we have a follow-up meeting, obviously. Another comment was, Sarah really had my attention with her voice and the pictures, which don't take away from her storytelling. So to sum it up, I think it was really a brilliant and very open and very honest presentation. And that is super valuable. And we are super thankful for having you, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.